And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder, and it's great to have you guys here on this Wednesday, November 13th. We have a lot to talk about on the show today. Before I get into that, just want to remind you guys, as always, to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit that super chat button in the chat of any thought or comment you may have throughout the live broadcast that you want to see me acknowledge. It makes the show more lively, more entertaining between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. We appreciate you guys' viewership each and every day, so any contribution you can make to the show means the world to us as we put out content for you guys each and every day. Also, the other way to help out the show is by going to the link at the bottom of the show segment on the ticker, GSMCPodcast.net. That is GSMCPodcast.net. So, let's get into what we are going to discuss for today. So, we're going to start off the show. We're going to talk about the Bears firing Offensive Coordinator Shane Waldron and the reasoning behind that. Talk about the Bears and their recent loss to the Patriots. Then we'll talk about the Bills and their win over the Colts. They improved to 8-2 on the season. We'll get into discussing the Chargers as they pick up another win against the Tennessee Titans. And then the final two segments, fourth part of the show, we'll talk about the NFL playoff picture. I know I've talked about the standings a little bit here or there in certain spots, but now I want to kind of take a deep dive into where everything sits currently. And then in the final part of the show, I will do my power rankings by ranking the top 5 teams after Week 10. Actually, and the other thing too is the first playoff ranking dropped for college football, so I'll also talk about that in the NFL playoff picture segment as well, because the first ranking was released last night, so we'll get into that. But yeah, that's the rundown for the show. Let's get into the first topic now, which is talking about Shane Waldron. And yeah, and as you can see, once again, I switch over to the graphic, and his image appears over the tip graphic. But yeah, so the Bears, they had to make a change. And I think more changes will be coming when we get to the end of the season, because I don't think Matt Eberflus is going to make it past this year. But the Bears' offense has been struggling, and they lose to the Patriots on Sunday. They only put up 3 points. They haven't scored an offensive touchdown in a couple of weeks now. And like I said, they're still in it. I mean, they could still salvage the season. The problem is the schedule is brutal down the stretch. But yeah, you go back to the last time they scored a touchdown, that was on October 27th. That was against the Commanders, and that was the touchdown by DeAndre Swift. Other than that, there was a bunch of field goals that they have had to settle for over these past, couple of weeks. They lose 29-9 to the Cardinals, and now you lose 19-3 to the Patriots. And this is coming off of, I know it's the Jaguars, but they went into the bye week. They put up 35 points against the Jaguars, and Caleb Williams played well. He had 4 touchdown passes in that game, and you thought, okay, you can go into the bye week and then, really work on some things, and then come out and, you'll look even better out of the bye week. But, they lose that heartbreaker to the Commanders. I mean, they really should have won that game if not for the Hail Mary. And then the Cardinals ran all over them, and then the Patriots, they only put up 19 points, but the Bears only put up 3. And the other thing, too, is that I just thought about is Caleb Williams lost to the number 2 overall pick in Jaden Daniels, and now most recently the number 3 overall pick in Drake May. Now, again, not going to make a big deal out of that, but just saying it's interesting that happened. So, but the Bears' offense has struggled, and they ended up letting Waldron go, and now they promoted Thomas Brown, who is the passing game coordinator. He will now be the offensive coordinator for at least the remainder of the season. He was also a candidate during the Bears hiring process in January. He has past experience as an offensive coordinator for the 2023 Panthers, working with rookie quarterback Bryce Young. And Bryce Young was not great last year. So, but the other thing that was interesting, too, is the Bears had considered several other candidates, which included Cliff Kingsbury, who was the offensive coordinator of the Commanders, Zach Robinson of the Falcons, and Liam Cohen of the Buccaneers. And you see how those offenses have looked compared to the Bears, and you kind of wonder why the Bears didn't maybe bring one of those guys in instead. Right now, when you look at the Bears' offense, Caleb Williams ranks low in major QB stats during the team's 3-game losing streak, including last place in passing touchdowns and yards per play. Some of the issues, obviously, the offensive line has gotten better, but that was a problem. But he also is holding on to the ball too long. I've noticed that on some plays, and that's what's been touched upon, leading to high sack rates. But he's also just not on the same page with his playmakers. And that was one of the reasons why I thought the Bears were going to be a competitive team this year. With Caleb Williams coming in his rookie season, is because of the playmakers that he has around him. And it seems like he's just, at times he's been on the same page with DJ Moore, but lately that just hasn't been the case. You have Keenan Allen there, you got Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. They have found success in running the football in recent weeks with DeAndre Swift, but yeah, it's been tough sledding for this Bears offense. And right now, with Thomas Brown being promoted, the offense for the Bears right now ranks at the bottom of the league in points, third down conversion rate, and touchdowns. And it's just, they're looking to get a spark. And we'll see what ends up happening. But ultimately, with the stretch that the Bears are going to go through, I think it's going to be really tough for them. And I think they're probably going to end up finishing with a losing record. I think I gave them 9 wins. I didn't have them making the playoffs, but I had them at 9 wins. I don't know if that's going to happen just because you're playing everybody in your division, and then you got a couple of NFC West teams in there. So it's going to be really tough. Now, I don't think they're going to lose every single game. I think they will find a way to win a couple. But in all likelihood, this team will finish with a losing record, and I think it's going to lead to not just the offensive coordinator being let go, but also the head coach. And that was my biggest concern coming into the year, was the head coach. Now, the Bears did finish strong last year, but coming into this season, they hit the reset button. They didn't bring back Justin Fields. I wonder what would have happened if Fields would have stayed. Would the Bears have had a better record at this point? I think Fields getting traded to the Steelers was the best thing that could have happened to him. I know Russell Wilson stepped in and now is the starter, and that was the Steelers' plan all along, but I think this was good for Justin Fields to be traded to a team that, is a well-run organization. And now, he did well to, when he filled in for Russell Wilson. Now he can just sit behind Russ, and I think, he's going to get another shot, whether it's with the Steelers or it's with another team. So I think getting traded from the Bears was a good thing for him. But the Bears, I don't know what's going to happen. I think, like I said, I think Eberflus is probably gone after this year. So I think what they have to do is they got to bring in an offensive-minded head coach. And the defense is in good shape. They have a good defense. It's just the offense is struggling right now. And it's really tough to see considering who they have at their disposal on that side of the ball. But let's kind of go through the loss to the Patriots, because I will say, he hasn't been spectacular, but he has shown flashes, and I do think that when talking about, and I'm talking about Drake May, I said it, I've been saying it, I think maybe the Patriots found their guy. Maybe. But it's still early. But if they continue to surround him with more talent, then, we'll be able to see what he could really do. But Patriots win over the Bears 19-3. He did only have 184 yards passing. Drake May, he went 15-25. He had a touchdown and a pick. They ran the ball, the Patriots, for 144 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 74 yards on the ground. Austin Hooper actually was their leading receiver. He had 64 yards on the ground. The Patriots' defense had 9 sacks in this game. So when we talk about the offensive line and how Caleb Williams holds on to the ball too long, it's going to lead to that. And the Bears defense actually only got 1 sack off of Drake May. So, you expect more from that, especially the Patriots' offensive line. We talk about offensive lines. The Patriots' offensive line is not very good. But yeah, not Roma Dunze, but Caleb Williams went 16 of 30 for 120 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. DeAndre Swift only 59 yards on the ground. Keenan Allen was their leading receiver. He had 5 receptions for 44 yards. DJ Moore had 3 for 24. Roma Dunze had 3 for 23. Cole Kmet 2 for 13. And yeah, the Bears are 4-5, and like I said, now they get to the brutal part of their schedule. They play the Packers this week. Then you got the Vikings. Then you got the Lions, the Niners, the Vikings again, the Lions, the Seahawks, and then you're at the Packers to end off the season. It's not a lot of wins in there. Not a lot of wins in there. But you know what? Maybe they turn it around. With this change with the offensive coordinator, maybe the offense finally starts to click. So, but I know we see on social media all the time when Caleb Williams messaged the punter before the season and said, "You're not going to punt that much here." And it's kind of been happening a lot in recent weeks. And also, there was a quote by Kevin Byard, one of the safeties for the Bears, and when he was asked about the coaching staff and whether he believed in it or not, he said, "Not going to go there." So that's a problem. And the Bears have gone 23 consecutive possessions without scoring a touchdown. Their 277.7 yards per game ranks as the 3rd worst in the NFL. And I apologize, that's my dog slamming against my door, laying right by my door, if you heard that. But, yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Bears. But we'll see if this change leads to anything. Maybe it does. There's still a lot of season left. They're not out of anything by any means. They could go on a run, but they're at the tough part of their schedule. They're playing everybody in the NFC North, which is the best division in football this year. So, and then you got a couple of NFC West teams, like I said, in the Niners and the Seahawks, who are still in it. And the Niners are a team that's going to go on a run with everybody back. So, but let me know what you guys think about this decision by the Bears. Where do you think they go from here? Do you think that this move will lead to anything? Will lead to some success? Let me know in the comments. So we are going to take our first break of the show now. When we come back, we will talk about the Bills and their win over the Colts as they improve to 8-2 on the season. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.